My two brothers and I have been close since we were kids. There's my eldest brother who we call John, my younger brother whom we call Steve, and me, the only girl in the family, going by Lucy. We're all in our 30s now, and I'm confident that our bond is stronger than most siblings out there. Part of why we were so close is that our parents both worked, and we always had to work together to get by. None of us were exactly good children. We each had our own missteps. Our mother often had to come to school for each one of us, and we got scolded at times. John was by far the worst among us. He was infamous in our hometown for being a troublemaker, and didn't bother with things like studying. He was always just goofing off and getting into trouble. Steve and I were different. Maybe it was because we had a cautionary tale right in front of us, but we both managed to avoid causing too much worry for our parents. We didn't attend any after-school tutoring and didn't put in much effort, yet we were always in the top 10 of our class. We probably just knew how to play the system. Lucy and Steve are doing great in school. Can't wait to see what the future holds. Maybe you'll take care of me someday. Just because you're good at studying doesn't mean you're guaranteed a successful future. I'll be the most successful one among our classmates. You just leave it to me. Usually the ones who say that are the first ones to get married and settle down. I'm betting on Steve. Even if I become successful, I'm not going to take care of you. We'd always get in these fun discussions. John was sloppy but had a kind heart and strong core. Steve was careful and responsible in everything he did. And then there was me, always pushing forward without thinking too much about the future. We made a great trio. John enrolled in a public high school, but quit about half a year in and has been wandering around ever since. He never really had a stable job. He'd help out at his senior's auto repair shop or bars from time to time, just coasting along. Watching my brother like this, I felt a deep resolve to succeed, because I was the reason why John ended up in evening school. On the day I got into a traffic accident, my injuries were serious. John worried about me and rushed me to the hospital. Worrying and caring for me so much, he ended up quitting high school. Deep down, I feel guilty about that. So I can't help but think if I become successful, I can help get John's life back on track. Around that time, I was always thinking about the future, about the path to success and its shortcuts. What could I do that would interest John? It had to be something that he could easily get into. When I started high school, I wanted to save money, so I began working a part-time job. No matter what you do, I thought you always end up needing money, so I worked hard to save as much as I could. Steve, have you seen John lately? I haven't seen him at all. It seems like he hasn't been coming home recently. Just as I thought. That fool. I wonder what he's up to. I hope he's not getting into trouble. Surely, with a family waiting for him, he'd think twice before getting involved in something dangerous. John didn't come home for several months. To ease our shared anxieties, Steve and I gossiped about John. Then a few months later, John came home nonchalantly. Where have you been? At least contact us. We were all worried. I'm sorry. I've been super busy with my part-time job. If that's the case, just say so. Lucy and Steve have been worried too. Sorry. He told us that he had found a good job out of state where he stayed overnight and entrusted me with almost all of his earnings for the future. He asked me to combine it with the savings from my part-time job. I didn't understand the reason at the time, but he insisted, so I took care of the money. From there, John started to loaf around at home again without doing anything for a while. Even though he never got a full-time job, he started to work part-time occasionally, and our parents seemed content with that. After graduating high school, I wanted to study business administration thoroughly and decided to go to college. Fortunately, my excellent academic performance earned me a full scholarship, which was able to help my parents out a bit. My brother was also proud of me. Around that time, there was a change in John. John, how long are you planning on living like this? If you don't get a full-time job, you won't be able to marry the girl you like. Actually, there's a company that's been inviting me through a colleague, but I'm not sure. You have such an opportunity? What kind of company? Construction. It's the site where I went to work part-time a few months ago. I'm not sure if I want to do that for the rest of my life. It starts early in the morning. You should take it. If you have the opportunity, just go and give it your best shot. Being firmly pushed by me, John started working as a full-time employee the following week. It seemed to suit him better than expected, and contrary to our family's prediction, he continued without complaining or being late. Looking at John during this time, I decided to pursue a career in architecture. If I could establish a solid foundation in the only field that my brother, who had no higher education, had mastered, his future would surely be secured. While I was attending vocational school, I continued to work part-time and managed to save up enough money to buy a rather expensive car. Of course, I could do this because I was living with my parents all along, but even I was impressed with how much I was able to save. My mother was the one who understood my efforts to work hard to save money and supported me from behind the scenes. She always packed lunch for me during my vocational school days, so I wouldn't have to spend unnecessary money. She really was cheering me on. After graduating from vocational school, I joined a well-connected company to network, earned countless certifications, and slowly prepared for independence while building relationships. John, too, had been tirelessly committed to his job, so I was able to concentrate on preparing to start my own business. Eventually, I was able to establish my own company, but I didn't invite John to join at the time. I couldn't afford to both go under, so I decided to keep an eye on things for a while. I plunged into work with all the preparation I had done up until now, working frantically. The team I had assembled were all excellent and worked well, and they all followed my lead. We got off to a good start. It was a strong beginning. But around that time, John had moved out of our parents' house and started living alone, and I didn't see him that often. I myself was busy, and I couldn't keep in touch often, but a year after starting my business, I officially offered him a position. John, my company is finally stabilized. I have something else I want to do next. I want to expand the business more. So I want you to lend me your power. Can you help me? There's nothing I can do. I want you to become the president of the current company and take command. What? That's impossible for me. You need to look at who you're talking to. I'm seriously talking to you with full consideration. Besides the money you entrusted to me a while ago, I used part of it as capital when I started the company. I persuaded John and assigned him a secretary who seemed to get along with him to learn all the necessary things. In this company, I became the chairman and took on the role of supporting John. Then I started preparing for the next venture. It was my original dream. To create mini cafes that are so cute and photogenic that they won't lose to anywhere else. This had actually been a dream of mine since childhood. I was excited to start without compromising anything, studying a lot about the restaurant industry. At that time, my younger brother Steve began studying to become an architect. This was also an offer I made. Buildings designed by Steve, with John in charge of construction. This was the ideal shape. Of course, it's my job to ensure we have enough work to sustain us. I have been preparing to actualize this plan in the near future. Around the time John stepped into his second year as the president of the company, he abruptly announced that he was getting married. Who is she? John doesn't seem to have the best judgment. I'm worried. I'll introduce her to everyone soon. We're looking forward to it. John getting married. I must confess, I felt more sadness than joy. We had always been the three of us, so the intrusion of a stranger gave me a sense of discomfort. But I knew I had to pull myself together and celebrate my brother's happiness. Later, when we had a gathering with both families, I met his girlfriend named Bella. I didn't oppose their marriage and things seemed to progress smoothly, but I felt an aversion towards her from our first interaction. Bella, I'm Lucy, John's sister. Please take good care of my brother. It's so nice to have a sweet sister. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Since I'm going to be the wife of the eldest son, the president of the company, you'll have to go through me from now on, okay? Bella was the same age as John. She was working in an administrative role at one of our client companies. Her first impression was that she was a determined and assertive woman. Honestly, I thought our perspectives were a bit misaligned, and she was not my type. However, I did think that such a woman might be a good match for the somewhat naive John. Steve felt the same way, but we both decided to support their marriage for now. She seems a bit stern, but if John loves her, we'll support you guys. Good luck and be happy. Thanks, Lucy. A few years ago, I couldn't have thought about marriage, and nobody would have even approached me. From then on, I was running around due to the new work we had started, and my days were quite busy. As for John, he was busy preparing for the wedding, partly because Bella wanted to have the ceremony sooner rather than later. And before we knew it, the wedding day had arrived. I hadn't seen Bella, let alone John, since the day we had met both families. John, long time no see. Sorry I've been too busy to make time, but today I'm here to enjoy. Today, at least you can relax and enjoy the food and drink. John getting married. I can't help but feel a little sad. We three were able to chat and laugh together for a little while before the ceremony. Seeing John's happy face, Steve and I felt relieved. The ceremony began and I was enjoying a leisurely and delightful meal while chatting with Steve and my parents for the first time in a while. The seating arrangement at the reception hall had the employees from the company positioned diagonally behind our family. They were also lively, and it was during their conversation when the bride and groom went around the tables in order. John, Bella, congratulations on your special day. Thank you, and thanks to everyone for coming. Thank you all for coming. From now on, my husband's employees are my employees. I expect you all to work hard for me. I couldn't believe my ears. In the middle of the wedding ceremony, what could this bride be saying? Thinking about that, I couldn't help but retort, Bella, the employees are strictly the people of my brother's company. They are not your employees, right? Oh, I'm well aware of that. My cute, meddlesome sister-in-law will be my maid from now on. With that, she laughed in a crude manner. Because everyone sitting nearby could hear her clearly, the atmosphere became chilly for a moment. The next moment, all the employees burst out laughing. What? I'm going to be the wife of your CEO. Are you making fun of me? Bella, stop it. Bella, are you aware of who our chairman is? Huh? Chairman? I wasn't introduced to such a person. I don't know. It seemed that John hadn't explained it to her, and she was ignorant of the fact and being rude to me. To everyone who knew the truth, it was natural for them to laugh at her. The reception hall had already become quiet, and the atmosphere had completely changed from the festive mood it had been. I never thought you'd be the type to say such things in a place like this. I'm disappointed. Huh? I'm marrying you, the CEO, and I'm becoming the wife of the most important person. Isn't that natural? The reason I'm standing in this position today is all thanks to Lucy. She is the one who started the company and made me the CEO. Everything is Lucy's doing. The chairman is my sister. What? What is that? I was not told about this. She realized that she was the only one who didn't know the truth and was completely furious. No matter what she was thinking inside, she should have gone through this reception with a smile. I'm sorry, but knowing your true feelings, I've changed my mind. Please consider this marriage as if it never happened. John, that's a bit too much. I just lack judgment. My apologies, everyone. John bowed deeply to the people in the hall. The wedding ceremony ended abruptly and people dispersed. I later heard that she had lived in poverty since she was a child. She apparently told her colleagues that she would marry a rich man and lead a comfortable life. When she met John, she seemed determined to achieve that ideal life. After the ruined ceremony, Bella bowed her head many times, pleading with John to reconsider, but John firmly stated he would never marry her and sent her away. While they were dating, Bella always appeared to respect and act quietly around John. But seeing her intimidating attitude towards others surprised him. He told me that he couldn't trust women and planned to focus on his job for the time being. His dedication to work increased and he started to do better and better. And my dream of expanding the number of our shops steadily came true. And Steve successfully passed his exam and became a proud member of our company. However, despite the professional success that all siblings have achieved, we are all still single, a bit of a sad situation. I remember when the three of us gathered together after a long time. Do you have someone in mind to marry, Lucy? I enjoy my work and I can't think about marriage or having children yet. Me too. If we're happy now, that's all that matters. I don't want to get married either. So how about we build a house? John can come back and we can all live together. Caught up in work, Steve's suggestion surprised me for a moment. Over the years, we've been so focused on ourselves, it's time we repaid our parents and started looking after them. While the company's on track and has taken shape, we still need to work hard before we can declare it a success. Building a home as a base and starting from there together isn't a bad idea. I could easily agree with Steve's idea. Steve, that's great. What a great idea. Right? Steve, you handle the design. Lucy, you find the land. And I'll build a magnificent house. This was exactly the situation I had dreamed of, to achieve something with the three of us. We've been doing it since we were kids, but I always hoped we could continue this way into adulthood. My brothers and I. At that moment, I felt like there was nothing to fear in life ahead. Even if I don't get married or find a partner, I have strong allies. I'm sure I can continue to enjoy what I want to do with them.